Hey, General Hospital fans, we have got some absolutely shocking casting news for you about Maxie Jones and Serena Baldwin and two more exits, plus some other ins and outs. It's Adam from GHTV, and this GH casting news update is a sizzling one, but please click subscribe before we get into it. So we'll get to the big Kirsten Storm stuff in just a moment. But first, let's talk recast. There is a new Serena Baldwin coming to the ABC soap opera. If you've forgotten, she was last played by Carly Schrader, who was in the role from 1997 through 2003, but she will not be back as Serena. The reason's pretty interesting. Back in 2019, Carly Schrader joined the army and she's pretty badass. She's an officer and 5 years ago she also got her airborne wings. That's paratrooper training by the way, and post videos of her out there shooting machine guns and all that army stuff. So with Carly serving her country, they needed a new Serena and they signed up another gorgeous soap vet to play her. General Hospital cast soap veteran Kelly Kruger for the role. She was on Young and the Restless from 2002 to 2019 off and on as Mackenzie Browning. She's also done Christmas movies like so many soap stars do. Kelly also did a dozen episodes on Bold and the Beautiful as a character named Eva. That role was fun for Kelly because she got to work with her now ex-husband, then husband, soap actor Darren Brooks, who just returned to Bold and the Beautiful as Wyatt Spencer. So if you don't remember Serena Baldwin, let's talk about her because she's got on-screen ties that are interesting. Lucy Coe was her surrogate mom and Scott Baldwin is her biological father. Dominique Stanton was Serena's BM, and Dominique was dying back in the day and she wanted to leave her husband Scotty a child. So Lucy served as her surrogate, and after Dominique died, we've seen Lucy playing a maternal role in Serena's life ever since. And of course Lucy was also on again off again with Scotty. And with Serena coming back, it would be great if Scotty also returned. I love me some Ken Schreiner. But in the meantime, her pseudo-mom Lucy is still very active in Port Charles. And more importantly, there's a half-brother that Serena does not know and has not met, Cody Bell. They share the same mom, Dominique, but his biological father is of course Max Scorpio. We know that Cody is older than Serena by a few years, and their mom gave Cody up for adoption to protect him. And it was only a couple of years ago that he came to town and found out Mac was his dad, and they've been forming a relationship. So it'd be pretty interesting to see Serena getting to know Cody. So Kelly Kruger began tapping scenes as Serena on Monday, June 8th. She's going to make her on-screen debut during July sweeps. Actress Kelly Kruger said she's honored and excited to play the part of Serena. Alright, now let's talk about Kirsten Storms. She has only had 10 episodes as Maxie Jones this year, and we're getting close to halfway through the year. We last saw Kirsten Storms on March 13th. Max's absence has been glaring, especially with Ryan Pavey back and playing Nathan West evil twin Cash's Basin. And we leaked here before it was confirmed that Kirsten was going to be taking a break as Maxie. That was because of a brain aneurysm and her moving cross-country to Nashville because her ex-husband Brandon Barish, who also used to be on GH's Johnny, was relocating there with their daughter Harper. And that also put Kirsten closer to her best friend Emmy Ryland, who lives in St. Louis. Now, fortunately, Kirsten's doctor decided to hold off. He said they could take a wait-and-see approach to her brain aneurysm, but she has still had soap opera-level drama in her real life while taking a break from playing Maxie. We know that Kirsten reported that her apartment had been broken into, and as a result, her phone was hacked. She showed some security footage of somebody at her door in the wee hours of the morning being weird. And then of course came the blindside news that Brandon Barish took out a restraining order to limit her access to their daughter. Kirsten has been open in the past about her mental health journey, talking to Morris Bayard on his State of Mind podcast about her struggles with bipolar 1, and now she's clarifying her status as Maxie Jones on GH. Kirsten Storm said, "As for what is in my future where General Hospital is concerned," she said, "given what's been going on, I can't say I will feel comfortable heading back to Los Angeles and returning to work. This has been an eye-opening experience about the downside of my profession. My daughter is my entire life. She is and always will be my first priority. So there you have it. Seems pretty clear that she is walking away from playing Maxie, so we may end up getting a recast at some point if Kirsten Storms doesn't change her mind about staying away from LA. And of course, storyline demands Max's return, so they've had an actress fill in for her before. Maybe they'll do that for now. It's a shame, she's a great actress. She was also great over on Days of Our Lives as Belle, and I loved Kirsten on Dirty Soap back in the day. However, prioritizing your own health and your child, those seem like good choices that she's making for herself right now. So let's hope everything goes well for her. Now let's talk about other exits in this General Hospital ins and outs update. First, in case you missed it, Mark Fourier has exited as Murderous Pascal, and it looks like Christina Corinthos may have her last air date this Friday, June 12th. Actress Kate Many said to be sure to watch that day to learn about Christina's future. And then on the most recent GH episode, she told Lucas that she was leaving Port Charles in a few days. But Christina still has to tell her parents Alexis and Sunny. But Christina has both of those conversations this week. We know that from GH spoilers, so I think that Friday might be her last day. It's not absolutely confirmed yet though. We've also got Finola Hughes back tapping, and she should be on screen very soon because she's been back for a few weeks. And Steve Burton came back on Monday, June 1st to filming. So his first air date should also hit during July sweeps. However, our leaker said we may not see Jason in Port Charles for a while, even though he'll be back to General Hospital. There is chatter that Barton's initial few weeks may just be Jason in Indonesia where the WSB sent him. Kind of like when we got Cameron Matt when he was recast as Drew. If you remember when he debuted, he was being held and tortured by Victor Cassadine and Peter August. I think they were on a ship and then maybe later in a camp, but I know they were on a ship. Anyway, we've also got a new hunk coming to the Port Charles scene. Aussie actor Dean Geyer makes his debut in July as Tristan Roberts, a character named in honor of Robert Scorpio actor Tristan Rogers. The latest chatter I've heard is that he may be playing a doctor. We've also got a new Scout Kane coming. They're doing a Saurus and they're aging up Drew's daughter, making her a teenager. Kadden Tokarski takes over from co-set aunt. Scout was born to Sam and Drew in 2017, so she should be 9. The last actress was 12, so they kind of aged her up a little. And now they are rapid aging her by an additional 7 years. She will be 16 years old when the new actress steps into the role. Alright, that's all the GH casting news we have for next episode. Early weekly spoilers for the week of June 15th through the 19th, as we find out if Lucas Jones is really dead or somehow survived 3 gunshots to the chest. Plus, his sister Carly Spencer is acting out when she gets more desperate about her daughter. It's Adam from GHTV. And before we get into what is coming the week of June 15th, please click that subscribe button if you're not following us. And as we always do on Early Edition Day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week. Then we dive into next week's action. So on Wednesday, June 10th, we've got Curtis and Porsche continuing to face off at the baby shower. This picks back up from Tuesday's episode where Porsche told Cardis he likely wasn't going to be a good dad, being basically violent and unhinged like he is. And Porsche said she did Trina a favor by not letting Curtis raise her. Wow, where is Taggart when we need him? Right, so Trina's going to leave the baby shower upset. She was really mad at Porsche, if you remember, for keeping the paternity secret. But at this point her dad Cardis is being a real tool, so this has got to be super hard on Trina. Now hopefully her pseudo-mom / second mom Ava will be there to comfort her since she is at the shower, but then Trina is going to take off to go and see her friends and vent about this issue. So we also have usually calm Aunt Stella going off on both Curtis and Portia, and telling them if that is all they care about, then their kids are going to lose. And I'm sure that is slinging accusations at each other. And I'm sure also this is Stella thinking they need to chill out, both of them. But honestly, this is 97% on Curtis's bad attitude. If he's not careful and he's convicted of felony assault, he may miss the baby's birth and wind up with restricted visitation. Also, Carly wants to spring into action on Wednesday, but Valentine tells Carly that everything changes if they play this the wrong way. So she may be wanting to run and report to that WSB person that Jack asked them to go to. And Valentine wants to tap the brake because he doesn't want to be back in Steino. Dante gets some bad news. Maybe that Lucas was shot or Lisa is missing or Brooklyn is trying to point him to Willow as the other driver that Jordan ran off the road. And speaking of Willow, she's panicking and tells Jack that since he can talk, the sooner she gives him the injection the better. And Willow gets an offer that's hard to refuse, likely from Jack. He may promise to help Willow not turn her in. And you know she may be somebody who could help him get word to his WSB contact. But also we saw that Nena ducked out of the baby shower on Tuesday. And if you recall, she was planning to head back to Turning Woods to see Jack. So I wonder if Na intervenes and stops Willow from trying to give Jack the shot if his offer doesn't convince her daughter. Also, Trina makes a big move. She may just cut both of her parents out of her life at this point. She's venting to Kai and Emma and Gio, saying she doesn't want to be a part of it. So she is done. Now maybe it's the showcase, but fresh off this baby shower, I tend to think that she's done with the drama of Curtis versus Porsche with a side dish of Jordan and Isaiah. Laura is frantically smacking at Lucas's face, asking if he can hear her. So he's laying unconscious after Sidwell shot him 3 times in the chest. But did you notice Lucas wasn't lying in a pool of blood? And the fact that Laura is even there is strange. And she's not trying to apply pressure to Lucas's chest, which is also kind of suspicious. That's the first thing you do to a gunshot victim. So after 3 bullets, Lucas should be spewing blood cause the chest, the heart, all that. And he was in that odd jacket that was buttoned all the way up and practically goaded Sidwell into shooting him. So I suspect Lucas might be in a bulletproof vest, and Lara is smacking him to try and revive him because when you get shot like that wearing a vest, it still can take your breath and knock you out. So this might have been a setup because Lucas invited Sidwell there knowing that he had caught him right by the safe. So I hope Laura and Lucas were working with Sonny and got him on tape. If so, the question is, will they turn the tables on Sidwell and blackmail him or just turn him over to the PCPD? Thursday, June 11th, Charlotte and Danny cook up a new scheme. I wouldn't be surprised if they took off trying to find Rocco, thinking they can fly under the radar and Colum won't follow them. Sonny is surprised, so he's going to hear from Christina this week about medical school, and Friday may actually be her last air date. That's not confirmed, but several signs point to it. Na reaches out to not Nathan, so this may be about whether he has seen Lissel because you know she got snatched up. So I kind of doubt he's going to tell Na who he is. I think he's going to keep that circle of trust close on his identity as cases. I do expect as long as Lissel is stuck at Windair Caches will keep pretending to be Nathan to everybody else. Cody impresses Molly. We'll see what it's about, but I'm excited to see Kelly Kruger make her debut in July as his sister Serena. Valentine cautions Carly. He already warned her on Wednesday to be careful. Obviously, Valentine thinks that warning bears repeating and Ava is bothered by her conscience. Then on Friday, June 12th, Will faces Tracy's wrath and this may be about the Chase job offer. Also, Sunny is helping Brooklyn. Alexis makes a good case by the end of the week and this may be in her conversation with Christina about medical school. Chase makes an arrest and it's very high-profile. So it feels like one of two things. Could be Sidwell for trying to murder Lucas or it could be Willow for the trumped-up allegations about her being the second driver in Jordan's accident. I'm guessing Sidwell, but we will see. Ethan weighs his options, so he might be having some second thoughts about Phoebe. This week, Ethan has another important talk with Alexis. Then the week of June 15th through the 19th, Carly's getting more desperate to find Jocelyn. And the sooner Jack is out of Turning Woods, the better because he might be able to get a beat on her, but Cullum remains a big problem. Lissel is going to have to work on Faison's final project and finish the prototype because she doesn't want Joss or Cassius at risk. I'm kind of excited to see Liesel and Cassius doing mother and son bonding since she's sad about Nathan, but also thrilled that she's got another son. Charlotte and Danny may land in trouble again for this latest plot. We've heard from our leaker that Brett and Rocco are supposed to be on the run for all of June. So it looks like they return or are found as July sweeps kicks off starting June 25th. Brooklyn and Sunny work together, but it may be easier getting Sidwell out of deception if he is the one that Chase arrests this week. Plus, Trina's frustrations are evident, understandable, and mounting. The question is, will she go confront Curtis and Portia and let them know that as long as they are at each other's throats, she is not going to be around and playing these reindeer games? I'm sure that Trina will show up for her baby sibling's birth, but she can still avoid her parents in the meantime. Tracy's keeping a very close eye on Chase. She does not trust him one single bit. And Ethan may get closer to Ava and I would definitely be here for that. We'll see. Cause she needs a man in her life and she doesn't really need a good man. She does a lot better when she's got a schemer on her arm. Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast because you don't want to miss the next episode.